Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with the greatest recordings ever. And helping me and assisting in this operation is Finsta, the greatest kitty ever. Well, that's Mildred, too. I have to be equal or else they're going to get very upset with me. Aren't you? Aren't you? Are you a good girl? Yes, you are. And the greatest recording ever, the one we're talking about now, sit. Do you want to sit? Sit. Come on. Sit. Sit. Good girl. See, if she obeys, we get snacks. Sit. Good. Terrific. There you go. Cats are trainable, just so you know. Especially this one, who's totally food motivated. Anyway, while she's munching, the greatest recording ever is this. Rautavaara's 7th Symphony, The Angel of Light. It's subtitled Angel of Light. Now, Rautavaara was a wonderful composer, really one of the major 20th century, second half of the 20th century, early 21st century composers. Really just a brilliant compositional mind and one hell of a nice guy. And he wasn't all that well known until this thing showed up on Ondine. He was smart. I don't think he was being at all, cynical in doing a series of pieces named after angels. For him, angels were a very real kind of thing. I mean, I spoke to him about it a lot. And, he felt that angels were not just cute little wingy things, but also frightening. And he used angels as a sort of catch-all for spiritual beings of great power. But in this case, Angel of Light was what it sounds like. It was supposed to be something luminous, something brilliant, something consoling. Really, it's a beautiful, beautiful symphony. It really is, in a style completely his own. And it had its 15 minutes of fame. And the reason I want to do this, particularly as one of the greatest recordings ever, is that not only is this absolutely marvelous recording, the reference recording, it's Leif, Segerstam and the Helsinki Philharmonic Orchestra, but it's a work that doesn't deserve to just disappear. Because these things, it got a lot of popularity back in the day when classical music labels had money and did some advertising and promotion, and they hired PR people, and they had the composer who was willing to work with them in promoting his own work, which was like kind of a miracle also. And so for all of those reasons, this was a major, major release back when there was a classical music community, a community of critics, of PR people, of magazines, print magazines, things that were able to promote things, new and special things. I mean, this was recorded in 1996. So we're talking now 30 years ago, basically, which is like just blows my mind away. It really does. Because I remember how exciting this was when it first came out and how fun it was to get to know Rautavaara's work. I mean, I'd known some of it, but this really brought him to, made his reputation as someone to really pay attention to. And after this, he was able to have quite the Indian summer of magnificent music that he composed. Now, Angel of Light is not the only thing on this disc. You also get Annunciations, which is a concerto for organ, brass group, and symphonic wind orchestra from 1976-77. Angel of Light was from 1994. So this was when he was still in a rather more gnarly and dissonant mode of Annunciations. It is a big, tough, exciting, sonically magnificent piece of writing, 27 continuous minutes. Really just a marvelous piece, but it's much more challenging than Angel of Light. His style, he never wrote down. He never dumbed down his style at all. He really didn't. He just, as he got older, he got somewhat mellower, and he refined he refined his style, I would say. You know, his approach to the orchestra changed a little bit. You'll notice Annunciations has no strings. Angel of Light has gorgeous writing for strings. And a lot of his later works use the string section as a kind of halo, you know, within which the other orchestra, the other instruments sort of swim and dwell. It's really, it's very, very characterful writing. And so this disc is not just a wonderful recording of a really major work, it's the Seventh Symphony, but it's also a great introduction to a composer who had a tremendous range. And it's very, very interesting, something we need to consider, actually. You know, maybe I could do a list. You know, maybe a list is forthcoming. But, you know, there was a time when, for most of music history, musical progress was regarded as something that became more complex, more difficult over time. But after the huge, you know, atonal interruption from the mid-20th century, here we go. There we are. After that, okay, there we go, of the mid-20th century, I think it's fair to say that progress needs to be measured in terms of music that increased in approachability without becoming cheap, tawdry, simplistic, moronic, whatever you want to call it. And Rautavaara was one of those composers. Many composers decided they wanted to write music that was more approachable, but that was still characteristic and true to their own conception of what music should be, what their compositional style should be. And he was one of the more successful composers at achieving that, because nothing that he wrote falls below a very, very high level, a very elevated level of taste. It was a class act in his music and in his person. And so I just think it's important to bring these recordings back to your attention. If you don't know this symphony, listen to it. Just sit down and listen to it. It's exquisitely beautiful and at times very, very powerful and thrilling to listen to. And I think you'll enjoy it very, very much. Right? Yeah? See, even Finster stayed awake for this one. Good girl. All right, my friends, so thank you very much for joining me. Keep on listening and take care.